Have you ever felt like you're always the one holding it together, but no one ever asks how you're really doing? You smile, you nod, you say, "I'm fine," but deep down, you're exhausted. You want to talk, you want to be heard. But every time you open up, it feels like no one truly understands. And maybe you've started to believe that you're just too much. But what if the real problem isn't you? What if you're giving your heart to people when it was always meant to be handed to Allah? Because there's a peace the world can't give, and there's a healing only He can send. The more you talk to Him, the less you'll need from them. This is the kind of healing no one sees, but it's the kind that changes everything. Lesson 1, people can listen. Only Allah can lift. Yes, someone might nod while you talk. They might say the right words. But they can't remove the weight in your chest. They can't soften what's breaking inside. Only Allah hears not just your voice, but your soul. You don't have to explain your story to Him. You just have to say, "Ya Allah, it's heavy, and I can't carry it anymore." And He responds, not with words, but with calm, with mercy, with strength you forgot you had. Lesson 2. Your tears speak louder in sujood than in a chat. Sometimes when you're overwhelmed, you just want to talk. You want to say how tired you are, how confused, how heavy life feels. And often you go to someone you trust. You sit across from them or open a chat box and you begin to explain. You cry. You share what's been weighing on your heart, and for a moment it feels like a release. But after that moment passes, sometimes the pain still lingers. Sometimes the tears you cry in front of others don't lead to healing. They fall, yes, but they fall to the ground. They don't always bring comfort. They don't always bring peace. And sometimes they dry up, but your heart still feels broken. But the tears you shed in sujood, those are different. Because when you place your head on the ground, you're not just lying down. You are bowing to the one who sees every hidden feeling in your chest. You're surrendering in the most beautiful way. You are saying, without needing many words, "Ya Allah, I need you." The tears that fall in sujood don't just disappear. They are not wasted, they are seen, they are counted, and they are received by the one who never turns away from you. In that moment of quiet, when no one else is watching, you are being watched by your Lord with complete mercy. You are being held by the one who knows how much it took for you to bow, how much you've carried, how long you've been patient, how many times you smiled in front of people when your heart was breaking. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "The closest a servant is to Allah is in sujood." Just think about that. Not when you're talking, not when you're explaining, but when you're silent, when your head is on the ground, when you let go of everything and simply be in front of your Lord. That's when you are closest to Him. You don't need to write long paragraphs explaining your pain. You don't need to find the perfect words. You don't even need to be strong. You just need to go to the prayer mat and be honest with Allah, even if all you can say is, "Ya Allah, I don't even know what to say," because He already knows. He knows what happened. He knows who hurt you. He knows what you're afraid of, what you're waiting for, and what you keep pretending doesn't bother you, even though it does. When life feels too loud, when your mind won't stop racing, when your heart is tired of carrying what it's carrying, don't pick up your phone. Don't open another chat. Don't scroll, searching for a distraction. Go straight to the one who created your heart in the first place. Go to sujood. Because in that sujood, your tears are not just sadness, they are worship. They are a form of trust. They are a way of saying, "Ya Allah, I still believe in your mercy, even when I'm in pain." And that is one of the most powerful forms of strength, not in loud speeches, not in public outbursts, but in quiet sujood, with tearful eyes and a trembling voice, whispering only to him. Let your sujood carry what your words can't. Let it be the place where healing begins. Let it be your safest space. Because Allah will never get tired of hearing your silent cries, and He will never leave you empty. Every tear you shed in front of Him is a seed of mercy planted. And trust me, it will grow into something beautiful in this life or the next. So the next time the pain returns and you feel like you're about to break, pause. Don't speak to the world. Don't explain your pain to people who cannot fix it. Instead, just lower your head to the ground and let your tears rise to the one who always listens, because those are the tears that reach the heavens. Those are the tears that never go unheard. And those are the tears that bring peace, not because your life suddenly changes, but because your heart finally connects to the one who never left you. Lesson 3. You don't need validation. You need divine understanding. There are moments when you just want someone to get it. You want them to see how much you're hurting without having to explain. You want someone to hear the pain in your voice, to see the sadness in your eyes and say, I understand you. So you talk, you explain, you open up more than you planned to. You try to put your pain into words, hoping that this time someone will finally understand. But what happens when they don't? What happens when they change the subject too quickly? Or respond with something small like, just be patient? Or worse, they say nothing at all. You walk away feeling like maybe you said too much. Maybe you were too vulnerable. Maybe you expected too much. But the truth is this: you weren't wrong for needing understanding. You were just looking for it in the wrong place. People are not built to fully understand everything you feel. Even the ones who love you, even the ones who try, they can only see what you show. They can only guess what you mean. They don't hear your silent thoughts. They don't know what keeps you up at night. They don't feel what you feel when you're all alone in your room, crying quietly so no one else hears. But Allah, He knows. He sees what you don't say. He understands the pain you're too tired to describe. He knows the exact moment your heart broke. And He knows the 1,000 thoughts that ran through your mind after it did. You don't need to give Him a long explanation. You don't need to type paragraphs. You don't need to make sense of your emotions before you bring them to Him. He already knows. He already understands. And that's the difference. With people, you talk to be understood. With Allah, you talk because He already understands. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, Allah is more merciful to His servants than a mother is to her child. That means even if you make mistakes while trying to deal with your pain, even if you say the wrong things, even if your heart feels weak or lost, Allah still understands, and He still welcomes you back. He doesn't get tired of hearing your pain. He doesn't need you to explain why you're struggling. He doesn't need you to have it all figured out. All He asks is that you turn to Him, that you remember He is the only one who truly knows what's inside of you. So instead of trying to convince others that you're not okay, instead of hoping someone will finally get it, instead of repeating the same story, hoping it will feel lighter, just stop, sit in silence, or speak in whispers, and turn to Allah with your full heart. Say, Ya Allah, I don't even know what to ask for right now, but you know what I need. You know what I feel. You understand what I cannot put into words. And He will listen, with no judgment, with no rush, with no conditions. Because your heart belongs to Him. Your emotions were designed by Him. And your healing will only begin when you stop begging for understanding from people and start trusting the one who understood you even before you spoke. That's where the peace begins. Not in being seen by others, but in being known by your Lord, fully, completely, quietly, and still loved beyond measure. Lesson 4. When you keep repeating your pain, you stay in it. Sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it. We go over the same story again and again and again, to a friend, to ourselves. In our mind, when we're trying to fall asleep, in the car, in the shower. We replay what happened word for word. We repeat the pain, the moment they hurt us, the thing they said, the way it made us feel. And we think, if I keep talking about it, maybe I'll finally let it go. If I tell someone else, maybe this time it'll feel different. But it never really does. Because the truth is, the more you speak from your wound, the more you live inside it. You stay there. You build your identity around it. And you start to believe that the pain is who you are now. You stop dreaming. You stop moving. You stop believing in anything beyond that moment. It becomes your story, your definition, your lens. But that was never what your pain was meant to do. Pain was never meant to become your name. It was meant to become your prayer. So every time you're tempted to say, "Look what they did to me," try instead, "Ya Allah, I trust you to deal with what I cannot." Every time you feel like saying, "This still hurts so much," try instead, "Ya Allah, I surrender this pain to you. Please heal me." The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Whoever puts their trust in Allah, He is sufficient for them." That means you don't have to keep repeating the pain out loud. You don't have to keep living in that same chapter. You don't have to make the wound your identity. You just have to place it in the hands of the one who knows how to transform it. Because the more you speak to Allah, the more you rise out of your sorrow. The more you tell people about your hurt, the more you stay tied to it. There is a difference between processing pain and rehearsing it. Processing is when you turn your pain into a conversation with Allah. Rehearsing is when you keep turning it into stories for people who can't solve it. When you process your pain with Allah, your heart feels lighter, your words feel heard, your soul feels seen. But when you keep repeating it to others, hoping someone will make it go away, you only build more attachment to the story, and you stay stuck. That's why healing doesn't come from repeating the same lines of suffering. Healing comes when you change the sentence completely. Instead of, "I'm always tired of life," say, "I trust that Allah is guiding me through something I don't yet understand." Instead of, "I'll never be okay again," say, "Ya Allah, make me stronger than I've ever been before." Because words shape how we see the world. And if we keep saying we're broken, we'll start to believe there's no way out. But if we start saying, "I'm healing because Allah is with me," we'll start to notice the signs of healing. We'll start moving differently, praying differently, thinking differently. Not because the pain suddenly disappeared, but because the soul finally found where to take it. And that place is sujood, that place is dua, that place is Allah. So the next time you feel like speaking from your pain, pause and ask, is this helping me rise, or is this keeping me in the same place? Because healing is not just about time, it's about trust. And real trust begins the moment you stop telling everyone your story and start telling Allah. Lesson 5. Not everyone deserves access to your struggles. There's a quiet kind of disappointment that comes when you open up to someone and they don't treat your pain with care. You finally gather the courage to speak. You tell them what's been hurting you. You expect support, warmth, comfort, even a little understanding. But instead, they respond with silence, or they change the topic, or they give a few words and then go back to scrolling on their phone. And it hurts, not just because of what you said, but because of how much you trusted them with it. You gave them a part of your heart. You offered them your sadness. You handed over your pain like it was a fragile piece of glass, and they dropped it without even realizing it. And then you feel something deeper than sadness. You feel regret. You start to think, I shouldn't have said anything. I shouldn't have trusted them. And you begin to close off. But here's something important to understand. Not everyone is meant to carry your pain. Not because they're bad, not because they don't care, but because they're human, and humans are limited. You were created sacred. Your heart is not just a part of your body, it's your soul's home. And what you allow into it matters. What you expose from it matters even more. Some people do not have the emotional strength to carry your wounds. Some people do not have the wisdom to understand your silence. And some people, even when they love you, simply don't know how to be there for you in the way you need. But Allah always does. Allah never misunderstands you. He never minimizes your feelings. He never interrupts your cries. He never grows tired of your voice. He never compares your pain to someone else's. He listens every single time with perfect care, endless patience, and unmatched mercy. That's why the most peaceful hearts are the ones that know. You don't have to explain your pain to people in order to feel relief. You just need to share it with Allah, the one who already knows every detail, even the ones you've never said out loud. When you speak to people, they might forget. But when you speak to Allah, nothing is forgotten, nothing is dismissed. Not even the tears that fall when no one is watching. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told us, Allah is shy and generous. When his servant raises his hands to him, he feels too shy to return them empty. That means even your silent prayers, even your broken whispers, even the simple, tearful, Ya Allah, that you say without complete sentences. They are all heard. They are all valued. They are all responded to. But when you tell your pain to people, hoping they'll carry it for you, you're giving them a role they were never meant to have. And that leads to disappointment, not because they failed, but because your expectations were placed in the wrong hands. No one can fill the space in your heart that was made for Allah. No one can give you the kind of safety that comes from saying, Ya Allah, you know what I'm going through, and I trust you to help me. This is why sometimes after telling people your pain, you feel worse. You didn't just share your feelings. You handed them something sacred, something that wasn't meant to be passed around carelessly. And this is also why sometimes Allah allows people to disappoint you. Not to break you, but to teach you where to go when you're broken. He is gently turning you back to Him, back to the one who will never leave your message on read, back to the one who will never say, get over it, back to the one who waits for you, day and night, to just say, Ya Allah, here I am. I don't know how to fix this, but I trust you to guide me. When you speak to Allah, you're not just expressing your sadness, you're planting your pain in the soil of faith. And faith is what allows healing to grow, not all at once, not overnight, but steadily, quietly, deeply. So protect your heart, not by hiding everything, but by choosing where you place your pain. Some people will forget it, some will misuse it, some will walk away from it, but Allah will carry it with you. He will take what feels too heavy and turn it into strength. He will take what feels too sharp and turn it into wisdom. He will take what made you cry and turn it into the very thing that brings you closest to Him. And when that happens, you'll look back and realize you never needed everyone to understand. You just needed to go to the one who already did. That's not weakness, that's wisdom, that's trust, that's faith. Lesson 6. Private pain builds powerful faith. We live in a world that encourages us to share everything. We're taught that being strong means being open, loud, expressive. We're told, talk about your pain. Post your struggle. Let people see what you're going through. And yes, sometimes talking helps. Sometimes it feels good to say, "I'm not okay." But other times, you speak, and it doesn't help. You post, and the emptiness returns. You open up, and the pain still stays in your chest like a storm that never passes. Because the truth is, not all healing happens in public. Some healing doesn't need to be posted. Some strength doesn't need to be shared. Some growth isn't loud. Some of the deepest healing happens in places no one sees. It happens in the dark. It happens in your room at night when no one is watching. It happens in your heart when you break down quietly, wipe your own tears and whisper, "Ya Allah, I'm tired, but I'm still here." There's a kind of power that comes from silence, not the silence of pain being buried, but the silence of pain being handed over to the one who knows exactly what to do with it. When you sit with your pain in stillness, and you don't rush to explain it, don't run to tell someone, don't seek attention or sympathy, but instead, you turn your face to the sky and say, "Oh Allah, I don't even know what to say right now, but I know you see me." That silence is powerful, because in that moment, you're not looking for a reaction. You're not searching for comfort in a reply. You're not chasing validation from someone who might not even understand. You're simply surrendering. You're placing your heart in safe hands. You're returning your soul to the one who created it. And that kind of return changes everything. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us the power of reflection. He would take time to be alone in the cave of Hira before revelation ever came. He didn't go there to speak. He went there to listen, to think, to remember, to prepare. And even after revelation, his nights were often spent in quiet prayer. Standing, bowing, prostrating, not for people to see, but for Allah to witness. That was the foundation of his strength, not the noise of crowds, not the attention of followers, but the secret moments with his Lord. You can have that too. You don't need to wait for someone to check on you. You don't need everyone to know what you're going through. You just need a prayer mat, a soft whisper, a sincere heart. Because when you choose to heal quietly, you're not running from people, you're running to Allah. And He is Al-Latif, the subtle, the most gentle. He heals your wounds in ways you don't even notice at first. You'll wake up one day and the pain won't feel as sharp. You'll hear their name and not flinch. You'll remember what happened. And instead of breaking again, you'll say, "Alhamdulillah, I survived it." That's the beauty of quiet healing. It matures you. It humbles you. It purifies you. It turns your pain into dua, your silence into strength, your struggle into faith. And soon, you won't need to tell people you're healing. They'll feel it in your calm. They'll see it in your eyes. They'll sense it in your peace. Because your presence will carry a softness that only comes from someone who has been broken and chose to be rebuilt by Allah alone. You won't walk around shouting, "I'm stronger now." You'll simply live it. You'll carry yourself with dignity. You'll smile from a place of depth. You'll forgive from a place of wisdom. And your silence will speak louder than any post or caption ever could. So don't think you're weak because you're quiet. Don't think your healing is small because it's not being seen. Some of the most powerful things in life happen in secret, like seeds growing under the soil, like du'as whispered at 2 a.m., like sujood that no one saw, like tears wiped away in the dark. Allah saw all of it, and He is preparing you for something greater, something you can't see yet. But one day, it will unfold, and people will wonder, "How did you become this strong?" And you'll know. You'll smile quietly, because you'll remember. You didn't get here by being loud. You got here by being sincere, by being still, by letting Allah hold what no one else could. That is the strength of silent healing. That is the maturity of faith. And that is how you rise, slowly, quietly, beautifully, in the safest hands of all. Lesson 7. The more you speak to Allah, the less you need from people. There comes a point when your heart gets tired of explaining, tired of waiting for the perfect reply, tired of wondering if someone really meant it when they said, "I'm here for you." Because the truth is, people say it. They mean well. They want to help. But most of them, they're just not capable of holding what you're carrying. Not because they're bad, but because they're also carrying something too. Their own thoughts, their own stress, their own pain. And so slowly, without even realizing it, you stop speaking so much. You stop expecting so much. You stop checking your phone, hoping someone will say the right thing at the right time. At first, that silence can feel like loneliness, but then something shifts. You start turning inward. You start whispering instead of texting. You start raising your hands instead of explaining yourself. And for the first time in a long time, you begin to feel peace. You realize, the more I speak to Allah, the less I need from people. It's not that you become bitter. It's not that you hate people. It's not even that you don't want to talk. It's just that your soul has found something better, something deeper, something more lasting. You start to understand the beauty of those moments when you say, "Ya Allah, I'm not okay, but I know you've got me. Ya Allah, I'm scared, but I know you're near. Ya Allah, I don't have the answers, but I trust that you do." That level of honesty, of raw surrender, of complete reliance, it's powerful, and it changes you. Suddenly, you stop waiting for someone to check in. You stop needing long replies. You stop depending on people's approval to feel worthy, to feel seen, to feel supported. Because your support, your real support, is now coming from your Creator, not the creation. You wake up and say, "Alhamdulillah." You sleep at night and say, "Hasbi Allahu wa ni'mal wakil." You move through your day with less fear because you're no longer walking alone. You're walking with the one who never gets tired of you, the one who doesn't get bored of your sadness, the one who never gets annoyed when you ask him for the same thing over and over again. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Allah is generous and shy. When his servant raises his hands to him, he feels shy to leave them empty." Think about that. Every single time you raise your hands, even if all you say is, "Ya Allah," your Lord is too kind, too loving, too generous to leave you without a response. Even if the answer doesn't come immediately, even if it's not in the way you imagined, even if it feels quiet, it's there, it's working, it's healing, because every time you speak to Allah, something inside you gets lighter. And the more you do it, the more you turn to Him instead of people, the more your soul begins to change. You stop feeling desperate. You stop begging for attention. You stop falling apart every time someone doesn't understand you, because now you're rooted, not in their words, but in His presence. And being rooted in Allah, that changes how you carry your pain. You're still human. You still feel things deeply. But now you recover faster. You cry, but you also pray. You break, but you also rise. You fall, but you fall in sujood. And sujood is never the end. It's always a beginning. Now imagine this. You're sitting on your prayer mat, tears falling, no one else around. You raise your hands, your voice shakes. You don't even have the right words, but you say, "Ya Allah, only you know. Only you understand. Only you can help me." In that exact moment, you are not weak. You are not lost. You are not alone. You are standing at the door of the most merciful, the one who knows the pain you've hidden, the one who saw what they did to you, the one who watched you cry yourself to sleep and still woke you up for another day, giving you another chance to turn back to him. That's not loneliness. That's love. That's intimacy with your Creator. That's the kind of connection that builds something unshakable inside you. So while the world is busy chasing likes, followers, and attention, you're building something sacred. You're building a bond that doesn't break, a peace that doesn't depend on whether someone replies, a confidence that doesn't depend on being understood. You'll sit in rooms where no one checks on you, and you'll feel okay. You'll walk through hard seasons without falling apart. You'll lose things and people, and you'll still survive, because now your strength doesn't come from them, it comes from Him. And that is the most powerful version of you. A version that doesn't need the noise to feel worthy. A version that doesn't need applause to feel strong. A version that prays more than they post. That forgives more than they complain. That believes more than they worry. Because the more you speak to Allah, the more you start to hear Him in the quiet moments, in the peace that follows a sincere dua, in the strength that surprises you, in the calm that doesn't make sense except through faith. And once you've tasted that connection, once you've felt what it's like to be held by Allah, you'll never go back to depending on people the way you used to. You'll be kind, you'll be soft, you'll be giving, but your soul will belong to no one but Him. That is not just healing, that is freedom, that is power, that is faith, and that is the kind of strength the world may never understand. But you'll feel it every single time you whisper, Ya Allah, I'm yours. And He will always reply. Even if you don't hear it with your ears, your heart will know you were never alone. You were never unheard. You were never forgotten, and you never needed anything more than Him.